All right, some wild two-way trading today as the index shows a near-term range breakout, tests the massive resistance level that was the August swing high in the 4600 zone, and then pretty much staged a sell-off. Let's go ahead and break it down here. So coming into the session, we were looking for essentially a breakout of this near-term range that we've been trading in for the past 5 to 6 sessions. ES breaking out during the pre-market session. That was the 4580 level that we are looking at. PT1 on this move was that 4600 level. And if you are unclear on where that level came from, take a look at the daily chart. That is one of the big pivots here on the daily and weekly chart. The late August highs, that September 1st, August 31st high right through here. Just a few points shy of that 4600. So you do have a key area of resistance right through there. Price pretty much tested essentially to the tick and then reversed, right? So we had bring my levels back. We had a potential bounce here develop in the prior breakout point. No real bounce materialized right there. Just a bit of a pause before ultimately resolving lower and testing that near-term range volume point of control at 45.65. You can see that there. That gave a pretty decent bounce point back. Again, pay attention to the levels here. Back into that breakout point, that near-term range resistance. Now, there was not enough buying pressure to push it up through that breakout point. Yet again, that 45.80. And so now we have resolved lower. So finally, after about 4 weeks, we do have some sellers finally showing up in this tape. The only other real selling activity we've seen over the past 4 weeks was this particular day on November 9th, and we could see what happened there. Quickly resolved higher the next day. So the question for tomorrow, looking forward to tomorrow's action, the question is, can sellers show follow through on this shooting star candle? Are we going to see any follow through? We're pretty much back just right into that near-term range. It's not really a breakdown trade yet, but there is some signs of exhaustion here on the rally. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, remember I've been talking about once we saw this change in character, once we saw this 4-month downtrend breakout, that the first target, or the main target rather, was the July high. If we take a look at SPY, we're pretty much there. Right, pretty much there. I mean, we are about 94 cents shy of that July high. So that is also playing into this particular setup here. Staged that change in character right through there, same as ES right through there. And now again, first target into that July high, that 52-week high. So ES is not quite there. SPY is there. Question for tomorrow is whether or not sellers are going to show any type of continuation of today's selling. And for that, pretty much just going to be watching today's low. It's going to be a very straightforward watch as far as coming into tomorrow's session. Now, that is assuming that there is not a ton of activity in the overnight session, right? That's assuming that there is minimal activity in the overnight session and we can actually work with today's low as a decent reference point. Now, to actually trigger the breakdown, sellers need to show some acceptance below this 45.40 level. Now, if we zoom out a little more, if I actually flip to the 30-minute chart, you'll remember the 45.40 prior breakout point from early mid-November, right? Retested as support. You have another breakout today, potentially, well, more likely consider this an upthrust, right? Now the question is, how does it resolve within this near-term range, right? Still a bull's tape. Markets take a long time to turn, so I will not be getting overly bearish here. Just want to see, is there going to be any follow-through with today's potential selling? And for that, just to keep it simple, prior day low. Coming into tomorrow, we're looking at today's low, which tomorrow will be prior day low. So as far as NQ, let's take a look. I've not been watching this as closely lately. So we had a very similar to ES, an attempt at a breakout here. Looking at the highs from, this was likely a data print. Looking at the highs through here, again, did not really show any type of acceptance above that 16,200 level. And if we flip to the daily, not quite there, but just shy of that July high. Right, so no real surprise to see sellers start to materializing in this zone. And very similarly to the ES setup, where we just want to see, all right, are they going to show any type of follow through? If so, you know, we can look at 15,950 down into likely 15,900, 15,800 area. Take a look at that high right through there. So structure being respected quite nicely on ES and NQ, as it usually is. Right, these instruments trade incredibly technically despite the news. So you don't need to watch headlines, just focus on price and use price as your guide. So ES tomorrow, looking at today's low to essentially set the tone for the session. Now, as far as individual names, it was a super light list. We're looking at crowd, second day trade. This is what I call a stock on its own. Take a look at that daily bar. Absolutely no care about what the index is doing, right? So we're looking at a second day trade there in crowd. Net, very similar, staging a breakout today. Once again, looking at a second day trade here in net. Now, that's pretty much it as far as the list is concerned. ES, as always, going to be the main watch. Pretty great session today, highly active. Personally, I was focused on longs. I caught this long here, starting pre-market into that 4,600 zone. Passed on all the shorts here. Personally, the counter trend trades do not work all that well for me. And so what I like to see is that first daily sell bar materialize, which we potentially have today. And then we'll see if there's any follow through tomorrow. That is where these shorts start to get more interesting for my system personally. So hope everyone had a great day. Hope everyone made some money today. I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a great afternoon.